And we are saying that we need to collectively share that responsibility to protect that activity. You would believe me or agree with me that a number of mothers these days do not prioritize breastfeeding because we now have alternative sources of milk. And we have so shortchanged the next generation yet unborn. And that is why we said this year it is our collective responsibilities, either as the mothers that birth children or as fathers that must ensure and provide that support to mothers to ensure that our children are breastfed. And even the society, I know that in several climes over the world, we have dedicated breastfeeding areas, even in shopping malls, in markets, in places of work. And that is a shared responsibility. That is telling our mothers that you have that protection to breastfeed your children wherever you may be, either within our houses or outside our houses. So like the team says, protect breastfeeding, a shared responsibility. This World Breastfeeding Week is an opportunity for us to emphasize the importance of breastfeeding by protecting, promoting, and even supporting among breastfeeding mothers. And it is practiced all over the world, over 70 countries, including Nigeria. And that is why we are also commemorating this week. It is a clarion call for all stakeholders, including you and I, to work together to protect that activity. Either as husbands, like I have said, as employers, political leaders, health workers, we should all play our part to encourage women to breastfeed their children exclusively for 6 months. 6 months. That is the recommended minimum for exclusive breastfeeding. Studies have shown that just about 30% or 35%, about a third, of Kwara children are breastfed in the first 60 minutes of life. In the first 60 minutes of life, we need to initiate breastfeeding because it is beneficial for both the mother and the child. It is a general knowledge that the first milk contains colostrum, which is highly nutritious and has antibodies that protect the newborn from several diseases. Colostrum is highly nutritious. It is very critical that we do not deny our newborn within the first hour of life this very, very nutritious component of breast milk. Breast milk contains all the nutrients. You hear our mothers saying, Koleyoni is too small, it's, it won't be beneficial, we need to add something. No, it is a complete meal that children, with all the nutrients that a child needs for the first 6 months of life. We recommend emphatically that children be breastfed for 6 months of their life. They should be given nothing but breast milk. This prevents infections such as diarrhea, respiratory illnesses, and provide all the necessary nutrients for optimal growth and development. Feeding complementary food within the first 6 months will have an adverse effect in reducing breast milk output. That is why we said breastfeeding within the first 60 minutes has beneficial effect both on the mother and the child, because production and release of breast milk is modulated by frequency and intensity of sucking. And breastfeeding can be continued up to 24 months of age. However, the progress that we have made in encouraging women to breastfeed exclusively is under threat with our new generation mothers, as well as the aggressive marketing of breast milk substitutes, which discourages mothers from breastfeeding, putting children and women's health at risk, and of course, the lack of societal support. Like I said, in other climes, you are going to see socially receptive areas for breastfeeding, mothers to access. But in places at this place, at areas where we find ourselves, we do not have such facilities. I don't know if wherever you are working, is there any dedicated rooms for breastfeeding mothers? So those are some of those, advocates that we are advocating, that as our collective responsibility, as our shared responsibility, it is within our rights to get that support from the society. Nigeria is one of the countries that has adopted the International Code of Marketing of Breast Milk Substitute, which is meant to forestall all threats of breast milk substitute. Again, we do not encourage breast milk substitute. We emphatically support that children must be breastfed for the first 6 months of life. However, we need to increase our awareness in this area and enforce. We, on the health workers' part, we are going to play our part to ensure that new mothers are encouraged to breastfeed for 6 months. And that is some of our mandates. So in this 21st year of celebration of the World Breastfeeding Week, I hereby implore every one of us to work together to protect breastfeeding, to ensure that our children are healthy, because they are going to have access to the first milk, which is colostrum, that will put them in the right footing to face the world and build a greater Kwara and a greater Nigeria. The Kwara State Primary Healthcare Development Agency will continue to take the lead in advocating for exclusive breastfeeding, so that the child, the mother, and the community at large will derive maximum benefit from breastfeeding. I therefore, once again, call on all stakeholders to join hands with us and the Kwara State government to continue to promote breastfeeding of our babies by their mothers. Thank you, and God bless you.